Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 15 of Code Geass. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Last we left off, things got a little hairy, and Lelouch ultimately used the Geass to wipe Shirley's memories of him. And I haven't quite come to grips with it yet, because on the one hand, that's certainly an extreme thing to do. I don't think you needed to go quite that far. But on the other hand, it was essentially a sacrifice. If he's really serious about putting his money where his mouth is, he's going to have to pay the price. And the price in this case is any sort of a relationship with Shirley as it had been before. So the question is, questions, I suppose, there are many of them. What's the deal with Mao? Because, for someone to just show up and start interfering and all that, that's something, but I guess more importantly, how is Lelouch going to explain all this stuff at school? Essentially, Shirley doesn't remember him, but, they interact with one another. I feel like this is one of those instances where a lie compounds in on itself and creates trouble, There's no real good explanation unless Lelouch also either uses his Geass on everyone else to make it consistent, or, stages some sort of a head injury or something. And I guess, perhaps the most compelling thing about the last episode, at least in terms of we don't know what the fallout is that C2 and Mao seemingly know each other. Well, I guess there's no seemingly about it. It's pretty clear they at least know of each other, but the relationship is unclear, although Mao seems to admire C2. It might border on, romantic affection, but... Oh. So I guess that's a serious drawback, Listening to people's inner thoughts and everything, that's powerful, but if you can't turn it off, I feel like that's a good way to go off the deep end in short order. So I guess the question is, with this information, how is Lelouch going to basically wrangle the guy here? Because I feel like, he can essentially neutralize him by doing something like this, bringing him to a public library or a place with a lot of people. But, if he's aware of what his weakness is, that's not something he's going to do willingly. And I guess I'm wondering, if he could hear everybody's thoughts, surely it would just become a cacophony, so Lelouch's best defense would be to essentially surround himself with other people. Because, that's no guarantee, of course, but if nothing else, you have to make him work to read your mind, to focus on your thoughts specifically. And I mean, maybe it's Maybe it's not something that could be done, but maybe if you think of like a bunch of nonsense that would also work to hamstring the Geass. Ooh. Yeah, so that mind-reading Geass really is handy if he wants to blackmail people, essentially. Yeah, that's something. You know, it's important to protect your sister, but that's never a good phrase, and, huh. Okay. So it's interesting that Lelouch is, I guess, worried, I suppose. You know, the idea is that he doesn't want to become like Mao is. And that's, you know, reasonable, I think, but I feel like there are a certain number of distinct, crucial differences that would prevent such a thing. You know, if nothing else, Lelouch would have to, willfully activate his powers, you know? And I guess, you know, C2 isn't blameless in all of this either. But, you know, I think the reason Lelouch is really mad is because this is something he sort of got himself in. Like, C2 might be a convenient figure to blame. And certainly some of the blame does fall on her, but I feel like he might be in denial. Or maybe that's not the right way to put it. Like, he's coping a little bit, you know? Like, the situation isn't good. He sort of had the rug pulled out from under him, and, you know, he's used to being on top of things. Ooh. So I guess the plot's thickening a little bit. This Lloyd guy is an earl, which is to say, you know, a noble of some standing. And I guess you wouldn't be able to tell that just from looking at the guy, but, you know, for Suzaku, this is something. Huh. Why is Lelouch spilling all this information? I feel like, there's gotta be a strategic reason for it, but, I guess I'm blanking on it. Now, I guess, something like this was bound to happen. I feel like, you know, Lelouch might have to explain why they don't really interact like they have done normally. Ooh. So is Lelouch just gonna, like, gaslight the president here? 'Cause I mean, like, this is definitely a weird interaction where they, you know, genuinely don't seem to know each other. And I guess to explain it as we had a little fight, like, huh. I mean, I guess that was awfully shrewd of Lelouch, like, hey, can you play along with this until we mend our relationship? But, like, it's not gonna happen, man. Okay, I was gonna say, who's this woman looking for Mao, but I guess it is just C2, which, you know, it makes sense. I suppose after getting chewed up by Lelouch like that, this might, you know, light a fire under her to try and do something, seeing as how it is sort of her responsibility, I suppose. Ooh. Alright, so I guess Lelouch is covering his tracks here, you know, destroy all traces of their former relationship, but man, can he really just gaslight everyone into believing the lie? I feel like that's a bit of a stretch if you don't use the Geass, and to use it for something so trivial, to just cover up another lie would be in my mind, a waste. So that's an interesting turn of phrase, the way C2 is like, I think we'll be able to cooperate. Like, I guess the idea being that they're not necessarily on the same side. Which, I would have thought they were, but, you know, C2 seems to be playing her own game here. Ooh, so I guess we're following up on this plot thread. Ogi took the woman and presumably saved her. I mean, she looks bandaged up now, considering Shirley shot her, but... Okay, well, you know, this is something. Essentially, if she no longer has her memories, then I guess she's not anywhere near as dangerous as she had been. Because I'm pretty sure she was aware of Zero's identity. Well, at least she's, I don't know, kind of kind-hearted. She didn't really strike me that way before, but I guess, being an amnesiac does that. You know, I have to admit, I didn't really like her. I thought she was kind of a jerk, but I guess, maybe being in the position she's in, she sort of has to be a bit more tactful than usual. And speaking of tact, I guess, C2's just coming out with it. You know, you're an accomplice, not really an ally. Now, I guess the moment of truth here. Does the Geass actually work? And I guess it seems like it doesn't. So I'm wondering, is that like a widespread thing, like Geasses don't work on other people? I mean, surely they must, right? If Mao was able to read Lelouch's mind. Is C2 just special here? Is that what we're supposed to pick up on? So I guess back to Suzaku, like, I guess he seems to be in pretty good shape, you know, physically, but, you know, mentally the doctor seems to be psychoanalyzing him a little bit. You know, you're comparing yourself to your father and all that, and he was a great man, but he was also, he's kind of persona non grata, you know, the former Japanese prime minister. Interesting. So I guess, Todo here, I guess he's sort of sticking with the line that the general did end up killing himself, which, of course, we know he didn't, you know. I can't say I blame him for latching on to that, you know, it's certainly more comforting than the truth, but on the other hand, I feel like you're not going to get anywhere by believing in something that's not true. So at least Lelouch is paying attention here. That Dieter guy, like, something's not quite above board with him, even though he is useful. And I feel like Lelouch would be wise to watch him carefully. I don't know. I guess I haven't quite gotten like a firm footing with Code Geass here. You know, I don't know where the twists will be coming. So for all I know, Dieter might be, you know, just sort of scummy looking, but ultimately honest. So I guess the plot thickens with Mao a bit. You know, he seems to be sort of romantically interested in her, saying, you know, hey, I'm a prince on a white horse and all that. Oh. Okay. So he has recordings of her. I guess maybe I could have figured that out before, but alright, so a lot of this is making more sense. If she essentially taught him how to cope with his Geass, then I guess it makes sense he would sort of be fixated on her the way he is. So I guess the question is, like, what caused this antipathy? You know, C2 clearly, you know, she thinks she should have killed him, but for what reason? You know, what reason does she have to want to do that? I guess, aside from the obvious that he's causing trouble. Now, I would like to think that C2 did kill him, but seeing as how, we didn't see a body, I'm a little bit suspicious that, perhaps she merely shot him. Oh. I take that back. I thought she was gonna, like, shoot him in the shoulder or something, but I guess, Mao was faster on the trigger. Now, we already know that getting shot isn't that much of a big deal for C2. You know, it's not going to be fatal. Sure, it might hurt a lot, but I mean, surely Mao wasn't shooting her in the limbs to maim her, right? Ooh. Yeah, you know, it's never good when a man talks about bringing someone as their carry-on luggage. And I guess it's equally bad when they also take out a chainsaw. Man, that's really grim, especially when you consider that this isn't gonna kill her, you know? Imagine having to live with that, with a horrible bloody amputation. So Lelouch seems to be, kind of nominally prepared, I guess, staying out of range. But, I mean, unless he's got, like, a sniper rifle or something and can hit a shot at 500 meters, like, I don't know what good it's gonna do. I guess maybe he's hoping to, try and buy time for C2? Oh, okay, he's going to leverage information here. He knows C2's real name that, she didn't see fit to share with Mao, and I guess, the idea here is, goading him into reckless action. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, just like that, like, his calm facade is gone. So I guess the question is, like, what now? Is he going to trick him into going to a populated area so he can get the drop on him? Man. You know, something tells me that slashing the monitors with the chainsaw isn't an effective use of your time. Oh, the park's opening up. Oh dear, indeed. I guess this is what you get going to an amusement park. Or is this all a ruse? You know, cause... Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's true. Okay. I guess he called in the cops. So I guess, what was the lie that mobilized the cops, you know? Or did he really just tell the truth? Because, I mean, I don't see why the police would just sort of storm in here for no reason, right? Man. Wow, imagine getting outplayed by a recording. Man. You know, he's not going to help his case by responding to the innermost thoughts of the police officers. Like, this isn't going to make you look any better. So I feel like, at this point, surely Lelouch could just use the Geass on him, right? Oh. Good lord. That was a good use of the Geass, you know, just have the cops gun him down. Wow. So I guess that's it then, you know, an absolute victory. Like, I mean, that's it. Surely he couldn't survive being shot like that, you know, a dozen times or more. Wow. And you know, I guess we do have to rub it in. His life was pretty horrible for, you know, him to have to hear everyone's thoughts and him to really only make any sort of a connection with C2 and for her to ultimately rebuff him in the end, but you know, he was doing some bad stuff, so you know, maybe he did ultimately kind of deserve it. Now that said, even though Mao's out of the way, I feel like Lelouch would do well to be a bit more wary of C2 at this point, seeing as how, you know, even with other people she's made contracts with, you know, she seems to break the terms. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.